What if the reason you struggle to trust yourself has nothing to do with confidence? For most of my life, I thought I needed to become a better version of myself in order to feel better about who I was. What I didn't realize was that I had quietly started playing a game, the game of becoming who I thought I should be. And in that game, I played many roles. But here's the catch. When you're playing a role, you need an audience. You need confirmation that the performance is working. And after years of listening to an audience, you stop listening to yourself. I wasn't learning how to trust myself. I was becoming very good at playing roles. In this video, I'm going to show you why that happens and introduce the simple process I call the return to you method. Because trusting yourself again may have less to do with becoming someone new and more to do with remembering who you already are. Maybe you recognize yourself in this. Think about all the different groups you move through in your life. You have your work group, you have your gym group, your family group, your friend group, your online group. Whatever community group it is, different people, different expectations, different versions of you show up. Now here's the question. If someone from one group met you in another group, would they recognize you? Or would they be surprised? Now there are appropriate roles that we all play throughout life. That is not the issue. The real question is this. Are you adjusting yourself to fit the expectations of each group? Or are you expressing yourself through each group? In other words, are you directing your life from the outside in or from the inside out? There's a huge difference between the two because one path slowly pulls you away from yourself. The other allows you to bring more of yourself into the world. So be honest. No people pleasing right now, no performance. Just between you and you. Are you an outside-in person or an inside-out person? I played many roles earlier in my life. My goal was always to be flawless in each of them. I took perfectionism to another level without even realizing what I was doing. Not perfect in the obvious sense. Perfectionism can be very sneaky. There's the perfect look version, which I always liked, the perfect act version that many of us women know all too well. But there's also the hold everything together perfect version. Show no weakness, make no mistakes, let no one see any mess whatsoever. And certainly don't let anyone know that you are struggling. I thought I was doing the strong thing, the responsible thing, and being successful and respectable. I thought I was becoming better at life. What I didn't realize was that I was spending enormous amounts of energy managing an image of who I thought I needed to be depending on where I was, who I was with, and what we were doing. What I learned later was that every one of those roles existed for a reason. They were protecting something, or more accurately, they were protecting me. After decades of performing, I began to get tired. Performance tired, pretending tired. Then came menopause, the great reality check time in a woman's life. Little by little, I started getting honest with myself and with the roles I was playing. Mask by mask, role by role, one sacred cow after another of who I thought I should be. As soon as I identified one, I ushered them right off the cliff of authenticity. And as each one fell, I felt lighter, freer, and more relaxed, more like myself. For years, I thought I was becoming a better version of myself. What I eventually realized was that I was becoming better at playing roles, better at adapting, better at performing, better at being who I thought I needed to be. But none of them helped me discover who I actually was. And that brings me to what I call the great pretending. At 65, here's what I know. Many of us learn to pretend long before we learn to trust ourselves, much less come to know ourselves. It starts early on in childhood. As children, we love to pretend, and that is perfectly normal. It's when we're taught that our feelings are not okay that the problem begins. Before we know it, we pretend not to be angry, we pretend not to be hurt, we pretend not to feel what we're actually feeling. Pretend not to know what you already know is true. Even as a child, we know. And it is all done for understandable reasons. We want love. We want belonging. We want to be accepted by our parents. Think about it. As a child, we are dependent on our parents. We want our parents to be happy with us. We think that means they love us, that it's conditional. They love us, they'll protect us, and we'll be safe. So we learn the rules and we play along. The problem isn't that we adapt it. The adaptation is necessary. The problem is that after years of playing roles, we forget they are roles. We forget we're pretending. Then we spend years trying to find ourselves. We read self-help books, take various courses to fix, to improve, to reinvent ourselves. We search, we think we find, that doesn't work, so we start searching all over again. All the while, the woman we're looking for has been there the entire time. She is the actress. She is the director. She's the one putting on the whole show. You are the one doing it all because that is what you learn to do to adapt, to be accepted, and to safely belong. This is why I don't think external validation is the real problem. External validation is often evidence that the performance is working. That is all. The audience is showing up and the reviews are good. People seem to like the character. But there is a catch. The role now depends on the audience. We need other people to confirm the performance. Otherwise, the whole thing starts wobbling. But what happens when you decide you've had enough? What happens when you stop performing for approval? Something changes. The validation you once needed becomes optional. The applause becomes interesting, not defining. The roles you play begin to emerge from who you are rather than determining who you are. And that is a game changer. The truth is that no one out there can tell you who you are. They can only reflect pieces back to you. This is where the return to you method begins. Not with effort, not with reinvention, but with the awareness. So next time you find yourself stepping into a role, pause. Not with judgment, but with curiosity, and ask yourself this question. What role am I playing right now? Give it a name. Like the good woman, the perfect woman, the strong woman, the successful woman, the spiritual woman, the woman that can get stuff done. Notice the role. Name it, whatever it is. Notice the costume. Notice the performance. Notice how incredibly skilled you've become at playing it. This is fun. There's nothing wrong with that. You are talented. The only problem is that you've been using that talent to move away from yourself instead of toward yourself. Now the next question is, what am I getting from this role? How does this role allow me to feel? Do I feel approval, safety, belonging? Am I the one in control? Once you get that answer, let's ask an even deeper question. Who am I without this role? Who am I without this costume? When nobody is watching? And don't rush to answer. Just begin the conversation. Authenticity doesn't arrive all at once. It begins with awareness, one layer at a time. In fact, I created a free guide to help you with this. It's called The 5 Layers to Shed, to find yourself again. And in it, I outline some of the key layers that get put upon us. The goal is, once again, to find ourselves again. I will include a link below in the first comment. So in closing, consider that maybe you never really lost yourself. Maybe you simply became very good at pretending. I call it the great pretending. And that is where most people identify without even realizing. But there is another process at our disposal. I like to call this one the great remembering. My return to you method begins by asking yourself the 3 questions we went over before. What role am I playing right now? What am I getting from this role? And what does this role allow me to feel? And finally, who am I without this role? If you follow this process, I bet that you will discover the woman you've been looking for has been there all along. And that is where confidence is built. That's where you can start trusting yourself. Because the woman you've been looking for isn't hiding somewhere out there. She's the one asking these questions. And I bet you will discover that she is bigger and better than any role you have ever played. It is time to stop shrinking to fit in and start remembering who you really are. And that's the place for true self-confidence. And when you're confident in yourself, you can trust yourself because you are being you. And it should be the most natural thing in the world, right? Because that's who you're designed to be. That's it for today. This is Elisa from the Rebel Crone signing off. And as always, peace from within, because that's where it starts, that's where it ends, that's the whole play. Have a great day.